Have you ever noticed a younger man looking at you just a little longer, listening a little more closely, showing up in ways that don't feel casual at all? And yet you wonder, am I imagining this or is he actually attracted to me? Today, I want to remove the confusion. Because attraction doesn't scream, it reveals itself through behavior. If a younger man is drawn to you, he won't say it first, he'll show it. And by the end of this talk, you'll know exactly what to look for, with confidence, clarity, and zero self-doubt. When a younger man is genuinely attracted to you, one of the clearest and most reliable signs is how consistently he seeks your company. This is not about occasional messages or random check-ins. It's about a pattern of behavior that shows intention, effort, and emotional interest. He doesn't just enjoy talking to you when it's convenient. He makes space for you in his life. Time is the most honest currency of attraction, and when someone repeatedly chooses to spend it with you, it's because being around you adds value to his world. You'll notice that he finds reasons to reach out that go beyond surface-level conversation. He doesn't wait for you to initiate every interaction. He texts to ask how your day went, calls to hear your voice, or sends you something that reminded him of a conversation you had earlier. These aren't empty gestures. They're signals that you're occupying his thoughts even when you're not physically present. A younger man who isn't interested won't invest this kind of mental and emotional energy, but when he is attracted, connection becomes a priority rather than an afterthought. What makes this particularly meaningful is that his desire for your company isn't rooted in excitement alone, but in comfort. Around you, he feels grounded, he feels understood, he feels like he can be himself without performing or pretending. That emotional safety is rare, and once he finds it, he naturally gravitates toward it again and again. He may even choose time with you over other distractions, social plans, or opportunities, not because he has to, but because he wants to. You'll also notice that he doesn't limit your interactions to one setting or one context. He doesn't only want to see you in group situations or during moments that feel casual. He invites you into different parts of his life. He wants you to meet his world, whether that's sharing a walk, grabbing coffee, talking late into the night, or simply sitting together in silence. Seeking your company means he values your presence, not just the stimulation you provide. Consistency is the key difference between interest and attraction. Anyone can show enthusiasm once or twice, but attraction shows up in patterns. He checks in regularly. He follows through on plans. He remembers conversations and continues them later. Even when life gets busy, he doesn't disappear. Instead, he communicates. He lets you know when he's occupied and reconnects when he's free. This reliability isn't accidental. It's driven by care and desire. Another powerful indicator is how he reacts when time with you is limited. If he's attracted, he doesn't become distant or indifferent. Instead, he makes the most of whatever time is available. A short conversation still feels meaningful. A brief meeting still feels intentional. He may even express that he wishes he had more time with you, not in a dramatic way, but in a sincere one. This reveals that your presence has emotional weight for him. Perhaps the most telling part is that he seeks your company without expecting anything in return. He doesn't always need entertainment, validation, or reassurance from you. Sometimes he just wants to be near you, to share space, energy, and moments. That desire to simply exist together is a strong sign of attraction rooted in respect and emotional connection. When a younger man consistently seeks your company, it's because being with you feels enriching. You offer perspective, warmth, and depth that he doesn't easily find elsewhere. His actions say what his words may not yet be ready to express. Attraction doesn't rush, but it reveals itself through repetition. And when someone chooses you again and again, it's because your presence matters to them in a way that goes far beyond curiosity or convenience. When a younger man is genuinely attracted to you, the way he listens to you changes entirely. This isn't casual or distracted listening where words pass through without meaning. This is presence. This is attention. He listens not just to respond, but to understand. His focus on you feels intentional, almost protective, as if what you're saying matters more than whatever else is happening around him. In a world full of noise and distractions, this kind of listening is rare, and when it appears consistently, it signals something deeper than simple interest. You'll notice it first in his body language. He faces you when you speak. He maintains eye contact. He leans in slightly, signaling engagement rather than impatience. His phone stays out of sight or untouched. These subtle behaviors communicate respect and curiosity. A younger man who is not emotionally invested may hear your words, but he won't absorb them. An attracted man, however, absorbs every detail because he values your perspective and wants to understand the person behind the words. What makes this kind of listening even more powerful is what happens after the conversation ends. He remembers. He recalls small details that most people would forget: your favorite drink, a story you mentioned in passing, a challenge you're facing, or something you're excited about in the future. When he brings these things up later, often unexpectedly, it creates a sense of being truly seen. This isn't coincidence. Memory is a form of care. We remember what matters to us, and when he remembers you, it's because you occupy a meaningful place in his mind. His curiosity about your experiences goes beyond politeness. He asks thoughtful follow-up questions that show he's connecting the dots between what you've shared before and what you're saying now. He wants to understand your past, your values, and your emotional landscape. This curiosity is not invasive or interrogative. It's gentle and sincere. It comes from admiration. He respects your life experience and wants to learn from it rather than compete with it. Listening deeply also means he responds emotionally, not just logically. When you share something important, he doesn't brush it off or minimize it. He acknowledges how you feel. He validates your emotions even when he doesn't fully relate. This emotional intelligence is a strong indicator of attraction because it requires vulnerability on his part. He allows himself to be affected by your words, and that emotional openness strengthens the bond between you. You may also notice that he adapts his behavior based on what he's learned from listening to you. If you've expressed a preference, a boundary, or a sensitivity, he remembers and respects it. He adjusts without being reminded. This shows that he's not just collecting information, he's integrating it. That level of attentiveness reflects genuine care and emotional investment. Perhaps the most meaningful aspect of his deep listening is the safety it creates. You feel comfortable expressing yourself fully, without fear of being dismissed or misunderstood. He doesn't rush you or change the subject when conversations become serious or emotional. Instead, he holds space for you. That emotional presence builds trust, and trust is often the foundation of attraction that has the potential to grow into something lasting. When a younger man listens deeply and remembers details, it's because you matter to him. Your words carry weight. Your experiences hold value. Your thoughts linger with him long after the conversation ends. This kind of attention isn't performative, it's instinctive. It's how attraction expresses itself quietly, through consistency and care. And when someone listens to you in this way, it's a sign that they don't just like being around you, they appreciate who you are at your core. When a younger man is truly attracted to you, the way he tries to impress you feels different from ordinary bravado. It isn't loud, flashy, or rooted in ego. Instead, it shows up through growth. He doesn't try to dominate conversations or prove that he's better than others. He focuses on becoming better than who he was yesterday, and he wants you to see that progression. This quiet ambition is one of the most telling signs of genuine attraction, because it reveals respect rather than insecurity. You'll notice that when he talks about his life, he speaks more about direction than dominance. He shares his goals, his plans, and the lessons he's learning along the way. He doesn't exaggerate his success or hide his struggles. Instead, he presents himself honestly, showing both where he is and where he's headed. This honesty is intentional. He wants you to see his potential, not a performance. He understands that impressing you isn't about appearing perfect, but about demonstrating commitment to growth. Rather than seeking validation through attention or status, he seeks it through effort. He works on his career, his health, his emotional maturity, and his sense of purpose. You may notice him mentioning books he's reading, skills he's developing, or changes he's making in his life. These aren't random updates. They are subtle signals meant to communicate that he takes himself seriously and values progress. He wants you to feel confident in who he is becoming, not just who he is right now. What sets this apart from ego-driven behavior is the absence of comparison. He doesn't put others down to elevate himself. He doesn't compete with your past or try to outshine your experiences. Instead, he acknowledges your wisdom and life experience with admiration. He may even seek your perspective or advice, not because he lacks confidence, but because he respects your insight. This willingness to learn from you shows emotional maturity and humility, which are powerful markers of attraction. You may also notice that his actions align with his words. He doesn't just talk about growth, he demonstrates it. He follows through on commitments. He shows discipline and consistency. He takes responsibility for mistakes rather than deflecting blame. This integrity is part of how he impresses you. He understands that trust and reliability are more compelling than charm or bravado. His growth becomes visible not through grand gestures but through everyday choices. Another important sign is how he responds to your approval. He doesn't chase constant praise, but when he receives genuine acknowledgement from you, it clearly matters to him. Your respect carries weight. He becomes more motivated, more grounded, and more focused. This response reveals that your opinion holds emotional significance for him, which is a strong indicator of attraction rooted in respect rather than infatuation. Perhaps the most meaningful aspect of this kind of attraction is that he doesn't rush to prove himself. He allows growth to speak over time. He understands that real confidence doesn't need to announce itself. Instead, it reveals itself through patience, effort, and consistency. His desire to impress you is not about winning you over quickly, but about showing you that he is building a life he's proud of, one that you could naturally fit into if you chose to. When a younger man tries to impress you with growth rather than ego, it's because he sees you as someone whose respect must be earned, not demanded. He values your presence enough to rise to it. His attraction isn't loud or performative, it's steady and intentional. And in that quiet dedication to becoming better, he shows that his interest in you is rooted in depth, maturity, and genuine admiration. When a younger man opens up emotionally around you, it is one of the strongest indicators of genuine attraction. Emotional openness does not come easily, especially for someone who has learned to protect himself by staying guarded or appearing strong. When he chooses vulnerability in your presence, it means he feels safe, accepted, and understood with you. This safety is not accidental. It is created by the way you listen, the way you respond, and the calm confidence you bring into his emotional world. You may notice that his conversations with you go beyond surface-level topics. He doesn't limit your interactions to jokes, casual stories, or light flirting. Instead, he shares thoughts that carry emotional weight. He talks about moments that shaped him, experiences that challenged him, and feelings he rarely expresses elsewhere. These disclosures are not dramatic or attention-seeking. They often emerge naturally, sometimes quietly, because he trusts that you won't judge or dismiss him. As he opens up, you might see a softer side of him that others don't. He admits when he's unsure, when he's afraid of failing, or when something has hurt him in the past. This honesty requires courage. It means he is willing to be seen as human rather than invincible. A younger man does not reveal this side of himself unless he feels a deep emotional connection. Attraction, in this case, is not about excitement alone, but about emotional resonance. Another sign of emotional openness is how he reacts to your empathy. When you respond with understanding rather than criticism, he becomes more comfortable sharing. Over time, his emotional expressions grow deeper and more frequent. He may begin to talk about his dreams, his doubts, and his inner conflicts. This progression shows that trust is strengthening. He isn't just opening up once, he's building an emotional bridge that allows ongoing connection. You may also notice that he seeks your emotional presence during difficult moments. When something stressful or disappointing happens in his life, he turns to you. He wants to talk things through with you, not necessarily to find solutions, but to feel heard. This choice reveals that he values your emotional support and perspective. It shows that he associates you with comfort, clarity, and understanding, which are powerful components of attraction. Emotional openness also means he allows himself to be affected by your feelings. When you share something personal, he responds with care. He listens, validates, and sometimes mirrors your emotional honesty by sharing something of his own. This mutual vulnerability creates a sense of closeness that goes beyond words. It builds a connection where both of you feel seen and accepted for who you truly are. Perhaps the most telling aspect of his emotional openness is consistency. He doesn't retreat or shut down after being vulnerable. He doesn't act embarrassed or distant. Instead, he remains present and engaged. This consistency shows that his openness is genuine, not impulsive. He feels secure enough with you to maintain that emotional transparency over time. When a younger man opens up emotionally around you, it's because your presence gives him permission to be himself. You offer a space where strength and sensitivity can coexist. His attraction is rooted in the emotional connection you share, one that makes him feel grounded and understood. This kind of attraction is not fleeting. It grows through trust, respect, and shared vulnerability, forming a bond that has the potential to deepen with time. When a younger man is genuinely attracted to you, his body language often reveals what his words may not yet be ready to express. Physical cues are instinctive and difficult to control, making them one of the most honest indicators of interest. Long before he verbalizes his feelings, his body responds to your presence in ways that signal attraction, comfort, and curiosity. These signals appear naturally, without effort, because his attention is focused on you. One of the first things you may notice is how he positions himself around you. He turns his body toward you when you speak, even if others are present. His shoulders and feet subtly align in your direction, signaling that his attention is centered on you rather than the environment. This orientation is a subconscious response to attraction, showing that you are the focal point of his awareness. Eye contact is another powerful indicator. When a younger man is interested, his gaze lingers. He maintains eye contact longer than what feels socially necessary, not in an uncomfortable way, but in a way that feels attentive and warm. His eyes soften when he looks at you, and there may be moments where he holds your gaze slightly longer before smiling or looking away. This type of eye contact communicates connection, curiosity, and emotional presence. Proximity also plays a significant role. He naturally finds ways to be physically closer to you without invading your space. He may sit or stand near you, lean in when you talk, or angle himself to reduce distance. These movements are subtle and respectful, reflecting a desire for closeness rather than control. Attraction often manifests as a pull toward physical nearness, even when no touch occurs. Mirroring is another unconscious behavior that signals interest. You may notice him adopting similar gestures, posture, or tone of voice as you. If you cross your arms, he may do the same. If you lean forward, he follows. This synchronization happens because his nervous system is attuning to yours. Mirroring creates a sense of harmony and connection, and it often occurs when someone feels emotionally engaged. Small, respectful touches can also be telling. A brief touch on the arm during conversation, a light brush of the hand, or a gentle guiding gesture can indicate attraction when done naturally and without pressure. These touches are often fleeting, but they carry emotional meaning. They show that he feels comfortable enough to express interest through physical connection, while still being mindful of boundaries. You may also notice changes in his posture when you're around. He stands or sits a little straighter, adjusts his clothing, or becomes more aware of his appearance. These behaviors are instinctive attempts to present himself well in your presence. They aren't dramatic or exaggerated, but subtle refinements that suggest he cares about how you perceive him. Perhaps one of the most revealing signs is how his body responds to emotional moments. When conversations deepen, his movements slow. He becomes still, attentive, and grounded. This stillness reflects emotional investment. He isn't distracted or restless. His body mirrors his focus, signaling that what you're sharing matters to him. Body language also shows interest through consistency. These behaviors don't appear once and disappear. They repeat over time, creating a pattern. He consistently leans in, maintains eye contact, and positions himself toward you. This repetition confirms that his reactions are not accidental, but driven by genuine attraction. When a younger man's body language shows clear interest, it's because his feelings are guiding him before his logic steps in. His body responds to your presence with openness, attentiveness, and warmth. These nonverbal signals speak honestly and quietly, revealing attraction that is grounded in comfort, respect, and emotional connection. When a younger man truly respects you, one of the most powerful ways it shows is through how he honors your boundaries and responds to your confidence. This respect is not performative or strategic. It is instinctive. He doesn't see your boundaries as obstacles to overcome, but as expressions of your self-worth. Instead of feeling threatened by your confidence, he is drawn to it. He understands that your sense of self is part of what makes you attractive, not something that needs to be challenged or diminished. You'll notice this respect in the way he communicates. He listens when you say no, when you express discomfort, or when you set limits around your time, energy, or emotional availability. He doesn't pressure you to move faster than you're comfortable with, and he doesn't guilt you for needing space. Instead, he adjusts his behavior naturally, showing that your comfort matters to him. This willingness to adapt reflects emotional maturity and genuine care. A younger man who respects your boundaries doesn't test them to see how far he can go. He doesn't push for intimacy, attention, or validation. If you say you're busy, he accepts it without resentment. If you need time, he gives it without withdrawing affection. This consistency builds trust because it shows that his attraction isn't rooted in entitlement, but in appreciation. He wants to be chosen, not tolerated. Your confidence plays a significant role in this dynamic. You carry yourself with assurance, knowing your value and expressing your needs clearly. Instead of trying to compete with that confidence, he supports it. He doesn't attempt to control or undermine you. He encourages your independence, your ambitions, and your sense of self. This support reveals that he sees you as an equal, not as someone to dominate or impress. Respect also appears in the way he speaks about you, both in your presence and when you're not around. He doesn't objectify you or reduce your worth to appearance alone. He acknowledges your intelligence, your experience, and your perspective. When disagreements arise, he approaches them with curiosity rather than defensiveness. He seeks understanding instead of control, which reinforces emotional safety between you. Another important sign is how he responds to your standards. If you express what you expect in relationships or interactions, he doesn't mock or minimize them. He takes them seriously. He may even rise to meet them, not out of fear of losing you, but out of respect for who you are. This response shows that he values your self-respect and wants to align with it rather than challenge it. Perhaps the most telling aspect of this respect is how it remains consistent over time. It doesn't disappear when emotions intensify or when things don't go his way. He doesn't become dismissive, passive, aggressive, or manipulative. Instead, he remains steady, patient, and considerate. This reliability indicates that his attraction is grounded in emotional stability rather than impulse. When a younger man respects your boundaries and confidence, it creates a dynamic where attraction feels safe rather than overwhelming. You don't feel the need to explain or defend your limits. You don't feel pressured to shrink yourself to be desired. Instead, you feel seen, valued, and respected for exactly who you are. This kind of attraction is not fleeting or superficial. It is rooted in mutual respect, emotional intelligence, and a genuine appreciation for your strength and self-worth.